there! Thanks for coming back. In this video, we'll be discussing the difference between spousal, common law, and conjugal sponsorship. For a spousal sponsorship, you simply need a marriage certificate. If the marriage took place in Canada, it has to be recognized by the province or the territory. If the marriage took place outside of Canada, then your marriage needs to be recognized in that country. So some marriages are done in a private ceremony. So long as it's recognized in your country or in the country that the marriage took place, then Canada will accept that. For a common law sponsorship, you would have to be living with your partner for 12 months or more in a conjugal relationship. Now, sometimes you might be apart because you're going on separate vacations, or there might be a business trip, or there's a family emergency. So long as being apart is for a short period of time, and you can prove that it was necessary, then that you can still count those days as part of your 12 months common law relationship. Now, if you're apart because a family emergency took place for 6, 8 months and so forth, it's reasonable to say that that will not count towards the 12 months. So if it's for a couple of days, maybe a week or two, or even a month, you can justify it, but make sure that you're reasonable and make sure that in your submission you explain the reason for being apart and for how long you guys were apart for. How do you prove the common law relationship? Well, the common law relationship can be proven by having joint stuff together, such as joint property, joint bank account statements, having other joint matters, such as, I actually have a whole list here, which I can read to you. Joint bank accounts or credit cards, joint ownership of a home, joint residential leases, joint rental receipts, joint registration or payments of utilities, joint management of household expenses, joint purchases, and the other thing that I always tell my clients as well is sometimes it's not joint, but the mailing address is the same. So for example, your husband has a credit card that is being mailed to the same address, and you have a separate credit card with your name on it being mailed to the same address, and you can prove that they're both going to the same address, and therefore you guys are both living together. Again, very important that you explain that to the officer if both your names are not included into that agreement, whether it's a rental agreement or credit cards and so forth. So explain it that it's going to the same address, we're living together, his is a Visa card, mine's a MasterCard, for example. For a conjugal partnership, this is a very tricky one. A lot of clients, when they try to file their own application, they get this category wrong. For conjugal category to be successful, you have to prove to Citizenship and Immigration Canada that both of you, not just one, but both of you are not able to either be in a common law relationship or get married for reasons that are out of both your control. So one example, which again a lot of clients misunderstand here, it's that you can include is an immigration barrier. So a lot of times my clients file a visitor visa and the visitor visa application is refused, and then they say, okay, well, we tried and this is an immigration barrier for us to be together, and so we're going to file a conjugal relationship. It's not that easy. You still have an obligation to prove why your partner cannot come and reside with you in your country. So for example, if you're from Brazil and you try to do a visitor visa to come to Canada and your spouse is obviously Canadian and your visa is refused, you still have an obligation to prove why your spouse, who's Canadian, cannot live in Brazil, for example. So that barrier has to come from both ways. A better example for an immigration barrier would be you've done everything you could on both sides. So let's say she's Brazilian and she's tried to do a visitor visa and that got refused, and he's done a visa to go to Brazil and his got refused. That would be a much more solid case for an immigration barrier. Another one would be your marital status. So, for example, you're married to someone else living in a country where divorce is not possible. That obviously there's a barrier there that's out of your control. Or sexual orientation. Some countries do not accept gay marriages versus Canada does. So because of that reason, you cannot be together. Plus, being in a common law relationship with your gay partner could be grounds for persecution in certain countries. So for that reason, you are not able to even live together, let alone get married. So it has to be extreme, and you have to show it on both angles, both sides, both the applicant and the person that you're trying to sponsor, that you're not able to be together. So that's very important for a conjugal. After that, when you prove that, when it comes to proving the bona fideness of the relationship, it's very similar to proving it with common law as well as spousal, which I will explain in my subsequent videos on how to prove bona fideness of the actual relationship. I hope that this video has helped both determining what is a conjugal, common law, and spousal, but also hopefully you can determine now which application is best for yourself to file. Until next time, thanks again.